Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 10.
And he's kind of fallen to the wayside. Excuse after excuse after excuse why he wouldn't show up.
A family is out more than $20,000 after they say a contractor promised to build an outbuilding in their West Fargo yard.
A Valley News Live investigation found out that they're not alone. The North Dakota Attorney General has already sued this contractor for consumer fraud. But the AG says his records show that didn't stop the contractor from finding more victims. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer investigates.
If we can connect the dots and get this guy out of business, it'd be the best thing for everybody.
The Sturlogsons in West Fargo have a warning for you. They dotted their I's and crossed their T's, but say they are still victims of contractor fraud.
We are the ones, between my husband and I, that we feel like we're kind of screaming from the mountaintops, hey, this guy's doing bad stuff. It's illegal, and he's hurting people.
They hired Matt Llano and his company, Dakota Pole Buildings, Inc. They wanted him to build a large garage right out here to put all their extra stuff in.
So we had this in 2 different buildings.
But they still have this stuff sitting around, no building, and are out $20,000.
He still confirmed that our build date was on schedule for July. We're now past that. It's clearly not happening.
They thought they did everything right. They did their research before signing a contract. They even went as far as checking the Secretary of State's website. Mandy says it showed he was in good standing.
Nice enough gentleman, seemed to know exactly what he was talking about, and we signed a contract with him.
Then they put down $20,000. Next step, they took their plans to the city of West Fargo for approval, and that's when things got dicey.
We got a true CAD drawing, blueprints, everything like that, presented it to the city, and the city came back and said, that A, it's not stamped for engineering, so that was stopped us, and that he is not a recognized contractor.
So they had questions and went to Llano to see what was going on.
We've got messages from him, emails from him. Yes, we're going to go do this. Well, what we found out is that's the same line he was telling everybody.
But the bad news doesn't end there. The Attorney General says they started investigating Llano and his business last year.
He is in violation of this consumer fraud law, abandoning a contract.
The investigation resulted in Llano and Dakota Pole Buildings being sued for consumer fraud. Records show he owed $48,000 to other victims. And he wasn't supposed to be doing any business during that investigation. But the Assistant Attorney General, Peril Grossman, tells us that didn't stop him. And that's where the Sturlosons come in. Grossman tells us even more victims have come forward. So for this West Fargo family, the wait continues.
It needs to be stopped, and we're not getting the help that we would want to from a criminal perspective.
This stuff is still on their yard, but they're hoping the Attorney General can help get their money back like they did for some other victims in the past. Now, we did try getting in contact with Matt Llano. We heard back from his attorney, Mark Kafer, who sent us a statement. It says, in part, Llano is aware of the allegations made by this family and looks forward to reaching a resolution that is acceptable to all the parties involved. You can read the full statement on our website. Reporting in the studio, Melanie Palmer, Valley News Live.
Now, 2 other points. Grossman is hoping that local prosecutors will file criminal charges against Llano because he says what Llano is doing is illegal. You'll also be interested to know that Llano's business was listed as verified on the Secretary of State's website. Grossman says to not go off that website and instead call their office directly when inquiring about businesses. And if you are a victim of Dakota Pole Buildings, you're asked to call the Attorney General and file a complaint. This story came to us through our whistleblower hotline. If you need help with a serious issue in your community, call this phone number, 237-6576, and leave your tip. We'll do our best to get to the bottom of it.
Some parts of our viewing area have been dealing with severe weather. Here's video of hail coming down in Leonard, Minnesota. That's in Clearwater County. So how long before this active weather moves out of our region? Let's check in with Hutch for the very latest. Hutch?
Well, after one round of storms made their way through parts of Beltrami and Clearwater County, round 2 is on its way through. Fargo has managed to skirt around for the most part unscathed, and that looks to be the case again as this late evening round of storms taking shape in eastern Clay County up toward the Bemidji area. A lot of lightning with these cells. The tower cam's been picking that up, and some pinks north of Hawley indicate the presence of some hail, generally a half-inch diameter or so. White Earth also seeing these storms move to the south and east at around 25 miles per hour. Puts them near Hawley by 10:07, Audubon by around 10:34. As we look at that line as it extends to the north and east, these storms also moving at that same clip, not quite as intense on the reflectivity. So the hail a little bit more or less of a risk there, reaching the height of Land Lake area by the time we get to 10:44. A couple of cells pushing into Fergus Falls. All of these have remained non-severe, and the risk for severe waning substantially as the cold air from the north pushes in. It does look like, well, the cold will take hold for your Wednesday. I'll have the chilly details in your hour-by-hour forecast here in just a few moments.
Cold at the beginning of August?
It happens.
Wow, thanks.
You bet.
A construction worker was hurt but is expected to be okay after the bulldozer they were in tumbled down a large pile of dirt and rocks. It happened this evening in the area of 3rd Avenue and 43rd and a half Street North in Fargo. Police tell us the bulldozer was operating on top of the pile when it toppled over the edge, doing a complete barrel roll down a hill estimated to be 30 to 40 feet high.
It's a commercial construction site where they're crushing concrete. They had a bulldozer up on top of the pile moving some dirt and concrete chunks, and the bulldozer got a little too close to the edge and ended up rolling down the side of an embankment.
Now, one person was inside and was taken to a hospital with what is described as non-life-threatening injuries. The construction company is investigating the situation.
Attempted murder and assault charges have been filed against a Minnesota man following a standoff and stabbing over the weekend. Shane Williams of Thief River Falls is also charged with domestic assault by strangulation and endangerment of a child. The complaint says a 10-year-old nephew of the female victim jumped on the back of the accused, trying to shield his aunt from the attack before taking his younger sister to a nearby apartment for help. Police say they used a taser to forcibly take Williams into custody.
Her yard has been dug up, but there's no one to finish the job. Hear from a woman who is out $1,700 and left with a big mess.
Up next, whether it's a pot of boiling water or dipping a toe into a hot bath, most of us try to avoid hot water. But one internet challenge is throwing common sense out the window.